Hello, and in this Train 2 on 2 video, I'm going to be looking at my Mixed Future Opportunities pie, going through my 14 holdings, and hopefully I should put a link in the description and top comments if possible, so that you can, if you want to, invest yourself. But I would like to stress this is not financial advice. If you want to invest in this pie, please do your own research. Don't just buy it because I own it. And we're going to be looking at a few of the metrics. So before I go through the individual holdings within the pie, I'd just like to look at the overall thing. So it says here, the average annual return is 11.27% based on 5-year historical market performance. Now, what I feel like I've tried to achieve here to an extent is a balance between risky and less risky investments. So I have that stable, steady growth in income, and also that little bit of extra that could go down, but also I think could really provide some massive future growth if you're in it for the long term play. So my biggest holding at 15% is the FTSE All World High Dividend. This fund, I actually personally now have £133.53 in this pie. I think that it's a really good one. My reason being that we know that basically, well, my theory is that markets over a long period of time will go up. They might not, it's not guaranteed, it's investing. Don't just trust me on that one, do your own research. But I think they will. And I think that if I can get in there, try and capitalize on that slow and steady growth while having that nice dividend coming in and being reinvested, I think in the long term I can get that compounding effect and make a lot of money. And I believe I do have, as we can see, it says auto reinvest on the dividends there. So the next one is the Vanguard S&P 500. Now what we know is that over time, the S&P 500, I mean, if we just go and look at a graph of it, historically gone up massively. And you know, maybe there's some economic fears, but I don't really see a massive reason why it won't continue to go up, at least within the next 5 to 10 years. Perhaps if we're looking longer than that, there might be a slowdown in the US economy, etc. I don't know. But I do have things to sort of perhaps, to an extent, hedge against that risk. I mean, I'm invested in all world, so the whole world, so capitalize all that growth. But I think for at least a short term, the S&P 500 will probably push up at least a little bit higher. And it's a nice investment to have. Now, as well, have the Vanguard FTSE emerging markets to the same extent, pretty much, as the Vanguard S&P 500. Now, I think that the emerging markets, while it's more risky, I think it's a nice way to hedge against perhaps an issue in the US market, because I think in the longer term, the real growth will be in these emerging markets. Well, I mean, it's kind of in the name, they're emerging, which to me suggests it's sort of growing, and that's where I think the future growth potential will really be, not so much in places like the UK, in particular in the US as well. I think the growth might slow, but this emerging market is really going to hedge against that risk. And hopefully provide some longer returns. Now, another sector that I think across all economies will grow, which will kind of needs to grow rapidly and massively, is clean energy. So here we can see I've got Clean Energy Fund, the iShares Global Clean Energy Fund. I believe that I think it's had a bit of a hard time, but I think in the longer term, we have to switch to green energy. It just has to happen. Otherwise, we are going to have issues. I mean, there is things like carbon capture, but I think in the longer term, people are going to be pushing towards clean energy. And we know fossil fuels as well, they are finite. At some point, we're going to have to start using clean energy. And so that's why I really believe in that fund, and I think it will also help generate longer term future growth. The SPDR S&P US Dividend Aristocrats. This really is in my portfolio because I want to be able to collect that dividend. I've already talked about the S&P and why I think it's good, but I want to also be having an S&P where I'm getting dividends I can reinvest in a portfolio for future growth. So that's kind of similar sort of thesis to the S&P 500, but obviously just specifically dividends. Now, first, trust Nasdaq Clean Energy, Clean Edge, Green something or other. I don't know exactly what it says. But basically, Again, this is another similar kind of green energy, renewable future, etc. sort of portfolio. And I think, again, even in the longer term, it's going to do really well. So that's why I believe in it. And you can already see here, it's gone up by 1.77%. Now, bearing in mind, guys, I bought into this, I believe, on Friday, the 11th of August, 2023. So whenever you see this video, bearing in mind I bought then, when you buy in, it's quite important because my returns will be different to your returns. If you buy when it's at a lower price, then you'll make more. If you buy when it's at a higher price, you'll make less. So it's really important, or you might lose more or lose slightly less if this portfolio goes down. But the point being is it's really important to think about the price of these things, okay? Do you think at the moment, obviously I bought in here, but do you think at that moment when you're buying, this is a good idea? Make sure you're really looking out for that. That's a quite important thing to be aware of. Now, as well, Vanguard, FTSE 100, and the SPDR, S&P UK Dividend Aristocrats. I do not think the UK markets have massive growth. In fact, I believe I sold off a position in the FTSE 100 or in the UK market, indeed, just to actually fund this bigger portfolio, more mixed future opportunities portfolio. Because I actually believe that the UK and perhaps developed Europe as well are going to have really slow growth. I believe I saw something or heard something that Germany is even going to recession. Basically, I don't really believe in the future growth so much of the UK and Europe. I want to be investing in the world, emerging markets, the US. But I still have this in here as just a safety play. I think the the UK market, I know we've never seen turmoil, Liz Truss causing a massive, quite a big crash to the economy. I know there has been instability, but I believe in the long term, the UK economy is a relatively safe bet. And I want to have that just as a way to hedge risks in a more safe and stable economy. But I accept this 15% of my portfolio probably isn't going to grow much. It might even decrease a bit, although I think it will probably still do well because the UK, I think, does dividends quite well. So I'll probably be able to make back any slight losses from dividends. And I do still believe in some future UK growth, but I think it will be very limited, which is why I want to invest in things as well. Now, iShares S&P 500 Information Technology Fund. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this fund here. I think this fund could perhaps grow massively. As we know, information technology is something that I think definitely could, in the future in particular, do really well. However, if we're looking at this right now, okay, if we're looking at it, I mean, it says it's up 37.88% year to date. If I go to performance, okay, right, it shows you the performance in 2022, then other years before that as well. So it has gone down a bit, but I actually think, I don't know, but it's quite possible it might be a little bit overvalued, right? I mean, Nvidia, I think we could almost definitely guarantee. Well, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I do have the feeling it's probably a little bit overvalued, which is why instead of having 15% in this, I've chosen a few individual companies that I think maybe aren't so overvalued. They might be, but ones that I think are a little bit better place from here. I believe in technology growing into the future because it is quite literally the future. I mean, this device that I'm using right now, for example, is all part of this future technology growth. I'm just how investing's changed with the advent of technology. I think it's made it very much more accessible. So it is definitely the future technology. So that is the overall portfolio. Now, as well, I'd just like to have a little talk here about what I've done with the risk and the less risky. So I'd say the all-world high dividends, probably a bit less risky. The FTSE S&P 500, a little bit less risky. If we add those percentages up, we're going to get 27.5%. Now, again, some more riskier ones here. Dividend aristocrats in the US, 37.5%. In safer stuff. Again, the UK, pretty safe. So we had that 15% on. That should give you 52.5%, I believe. And then the rest of it is more risky investments that I accept could go down. But I really do believe in the future of these technology companies. And just look, for example, these are the ones that are actually up in the portfolio, and the Nasdaq Clean Energy. All the things that are perhaps safer are down. So far, this is only early stages, and I will try and perhaps update you guys on how this performs. And if you want to invest in yourself, then please do your own research. Please don't invest because I've told you to. This is just what I think will do well. But to be honest, I'm not the best stock investor. I'm learning myself, and I wouldn't really trust anything I say. It's quite likely that this will lose a lot of money. But I think it does have good potential, and I personally do want to put money into this. But please, please, please do your own research. I will try and put this link, if YouTube lets me, in the description, so that you can invest in it. Thank you, and I hope this helps you a bit, but please, please do research. It's not financial advice. Do your own research, and thank you for listening.